Hello everyone, welcome to Olive Board. So my name is Shubhi Chaube and I'm here to help you out with your IBPS SO IT officer interview preparation. In the previous session we have discussed what kind of questions are asked in the IBPS SO IT officer interview. Now in this session I'm going to dive deep into the specific subjects. We have talked about the areas that you need to cover in the previous session, and today we are going to jump right into the topics and see what kind of questions are expected from those subjects or areas, like computer networks and security. That is the first topic. I believe that computer networks and security is such a topic which is asked in every IT officer interview because it is really crucial to the bank's IT infrastructure. And I have worked for 3 years in one of the public sector banks, and I have seen the importance of this after you get selected. So that's why they need to make sure that your basics are clear from this topic, and that makes this topic really important for the interview. So let's start. I have a list of questions, probable questions, and I want you all to write down answer for all, or in fact, don't write down the answers. Try speaking, because in interview does not matter how good you are in that particular subject. If you're not able to present yourself, that is not going to add any value to your interview. So I would suggest you all to keep the questions in front of you, and think of it as if someone is asking you these questions, and try answering these questions by yourself. So that is going to give you an edge, because in interview somewhat you can expect that the questions would be related to these only. So there won't be a new there won't be any big surprise for you in an interview. Yes, they can ask you scenario based question, that let's say this is the situation that has happened in the bank. Now how you are going to deal with it? For that, if you are clear with the concepts of this topic, let's say there is a security breach, how you approach that. So for that you need to understand what kind of security breaches are there. You can answer the question by your conceptual clarity on the topics that I'm mentioning here. So let us start and see what all we have here. uh, okay, so this is the Olive Board app. You can download it and access the videos from here as well. Also, there is a course that is provided by Olive Board that is related to the IBPS SO IT officer preparation specifically, and in that you will get mock interviews as well. So you can check out that course. I really hope that that is going to add value to your preparation for interview. Okay, let's start. So here you can see the first question. This is what is so we are first covering the topic networking fundamentals. So first, the most basic question, what is computer network? You all can answer it. There are various ways you can answer this question. You can go by the simple definition. You can include the definition that you have studied for your mains exam. So it is nothing but a set of interconnected devices that can share resources, exchange data, and communicate with each other over a digital medium, either wirelessly or through cabling. Then they can ask you what types of cables are there, or what are the mediums through which they communicate. So for that, be ready. I think that's really basic question, and we don't need to dive deep into it. Now the next one, describe the differences between LAN, WAN, MAN. You can include the definition, but I would say if they have asked you what is the difference, so don't make the answer too lengthy by giving the definition of LAN, MAN, WAN. In fact, you can go by the method where you compare on each point, like the range of each, then the applications of each, full forms of each, like that. So go in a comparison manner. What is OSI model? And can you explain each layer? So this is expected from you, that if you have cleared mains, you must know that what is OSI model. So OSI, you should know the full form of that, that is the open system interconnection. So that model is a conceptual framework used to understand network interactions in 7 layers. So what are these layers? First of all, we have the physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and application layer. Also, I want to tell you that you must revise the protocols of application layer. They are really important. Like, you should know the protocols of other layers as well, but the port number of the protocol that are from application layer, that becomes really crucial, because um, there is SMTP, there are so many others that are in the layer, this application layer, and they are widely asked. Okay, so these are the layers, and each layer serves a specific function which allows various types of networking hardware and software to communicate effectively. If you want to go in detail, you can look for the detailed answer for this one. If you need sample answers, the model answers, you can join my Telegram group, that is IBPS SOIT officer by Shubhi ma'am. So you can join that channel, and I'll post the model answer. So due to time constraint, we cannot go to detail of every answer. I'm trying to cover as many questions as I can. So in total, I have covered 50 questions here, and we'll be mostly discussing the questions, um, not the detailed answers. For answers, you can write down in the comment section here, or in the paid batch, you can interact with me live, and in that you can ask me the questions, and you can also join the Telegram channel for more details. Now, how does TCP IP model differ from the OSI model? So the number of layers are different. Then what? Just the basic difference would do. So that is the next question. Then explain the difference between IPv4 and v6. So no, the next one is here, the purpose of IP address and MAC address. Don't give bookish definitions. Instead, you should know the crux of it, that what exactly is the difference, what, how they differ. So one is a physical address, one is a logical address. So in that manner, and you can give the examples as well. Let's say I'm talking, just give some example, like suppose, and that is going to make your answer much better. So give the example, like in my office, or let's say in my home, there are several devices. So this is going to be the MAC address, and this is going to, the MAC address is going to give help me reach this particular thing, and the IP address is going to help me to reach this particular thing. So in that manner, you can answer this question. Difference between IPv4 and v6. For that, one question is there, why do we need IPv6 when we have IPv4? Why was that required? So the answer to this question is, it is required because of the limited address space that we had in the IPv4. Okay, so that's why IPv6 becomes really important. Okay, and you should know the exact figures as well, figures as in to the power of this. Okay, what is subnet mask and why is it used? Define DNS and how does it work? What is firewall and how does it protect a network? This is really important. Firewall, this was personally asked in my interview, and the firewall question was there in my interview. And I think it is a must, because in banks, when you work as an IT officer, you deal with the firewall as well, and it is expected that you must know what is the purpose of it. And firewall, how many types are there? Can firewall be a software or a hardware or both? So these are basic questions from this area. Then explain the concept of VPN and its uses. Describe the difference between TCP and UDP. What is NAT? Okay, and why is it important? TCP UDP difference, again very important question. Then how does a router differ from a switch? What is DMZ and why it is used? Explain the significance of transport layer in the OSI model. Okay, so these are 15 questions. I'll remove the camera so that you can take a screenshot of this, and I'll share the PDF as well in the Telegram channel. Okay, let's move on to the next subtopic, that is cyber security principles. Now, what is cyber security and why is it important? Basic question. Then define phishing, describe how to recognize it. It's important. You have to describe phishing. You can go through any standard definition, and then the second part of this question is somewhat you can answer it in a personalized manner, that how can you recognize it. Okay, so that is the second part of it. All right, I hope that this is clear. Okay, this is the official Telegram channel of the Olive Board. I'll remove the camera so that you can see it, and you can join this as well for all the class updates. Okay, all right. So this question is here, that you have to describe how to recognize phishing. Up for answering this question, the approach should be, you can first of all focus and see, there are various ways in which it is done, right? So let's say if you are receiving any emails or messages that are asking for some sensitive information like password, financial details, or some PIN numbers, or if there is, let's say this request is unusual or unexpected, so that is one way you can identify it. Then urgent or threatening language. So always remember what happens. um, um, I I think that you all must have gone through that situation where the attacker calls you and says that it is really urgent, send us this detail right now, or they create a sense of panic or urgency, so that prompts a quick action without careful consideration. Like let's say we are talking to someone and they said that there is a, you just please send the OTP sent to your mobile number within a minute, because otherwise it will expire. So that is another thing. So if there is a sense of secure sense of urgency or threatening language, that you can I'm not saying that it is always the case, but yes, you can consider that it might be phishing. Then the next type of example is, the next example that we have is this one, the suspicious link or any attachment. So let's say there is a suspicious link attached to your the email that you have received. So that is also one thing that you can consider as a phishing message. Okay, all right, I hope this is clear. Then sometimes some mismatched email address and URLs are there. So what they do is, uh, the phishing emails when they come from let's say um, instead of okay, I'll give you an example. Instead of OpenAI, it is written OpenAI. You all must know that it is the company that has come up with ChatGPT. So instead of OpenAI, it is written OpenAI. Okay, so the person, if let's say we are just looking at it for a second, we may think that okay, this is a phishing email. We may think that this is a genuine email coming from OpenAI, but or instead of OPEN, it is OPAN. Okay, so something like that. Sometimes we get confused with such things, so and that is also something that they take advantage of. Or some other things that you can tell them in the answer is spelling mistake, grammatical mistakes. So it often happens that just a second. I'm sorry. Okay, so often at times you will see that there are certain spelling mistakes or grammatical errors. So if this mail was coming from a legitimate company, or from the from a legitimate source, there are lesser chances of such mistakes. But In case of phishing emails or SMS, you'll encounter a lot of such mistakes in spelling and grammar. Okay, all right, so these things you can tell them. Or if there is, let's say, an email saying that it is requested to verify your account or any other such crucial details, okay, then there are certain too good to be true offers, like you have won 10 lakh rupees, enter your details to collect your gift, so something like that. Okay, so these are certain things. Now they may also ask that what are the prevention tips. So sorry, just a second. So they may ask you that what can you do to prevent the phishing attacks. So first of all, we need to verify the source. You can directly contact the company or any individual that you know, okay, to get the confirmation that this mail has been originated from their company only. Then certain security softwares are also there, the anti-phishing softwares. Then most important is to educate yourself about phishing, and educate others as well, because as you might have seen in certain movies that and TV series, that it is really common. Phishing attacks are really common nowadays, and they are coming up with more and more sophisticated ways of phishing. So um, at least, and not just the sophisticated ones, even the basic ones, as you might have seen in one of the TV series, they one person called and said that you won a car, and you have to come here to collect it. And that person said that I want it in red color. So they said, okay, we are sending you a code that is going to confirm your color preference, and that person instantly shared that. So although that was fiction, but it actually happens. So you must be careful while sharing these information, and you must educate everyone. Like in television, we see the ads from various famous personalities that never share OTP. There is this campaign RBI कहता है. So with that, so awareness is the biggest solution to this. Okay, then using multi-factor authentication. Even if someone get let's say your password or something like this, they should not be able to access the that website or your account unless they have the other information. So what is that? Multi-factor authentication is a combination of more than one um, layers of security. It is a combination, let's say two-factor authentication, something you know, your password, something you have, let's say your mobile phone. Okay, and then there is three-factor authentication as well, something you know, your password, something you have, your mobile device, and something you are that is your biometric or any sort of, yes, biometric. Okay, so that is fingerprint or anything like that. Okay, so in banks we see there are biometrics for accessing the critical systems. So that is also one thing that can be utilized to avoid being a victim to phishing attack. Okay, let's move on. What is ransomware and how can organizations protect against it? A ransomware, where we all know. If you don't know, no problem, you can write down in the comment section. I'll try to answer your queries regarding that, and how this can be prevented. So that also is something that you can, I think you can answer it. Okay, so keeping your systems secure, keeping your systems with multiple layers of security. They see, what are ransomwares? They are going to lock in your system, and they are going to ask you some sort of let's say they are going to ask you some sort of ransom, like any monetary benefit or something like that, to get back the access of to that system. Now one thing, if they do not get access to your system, how can they demand anything? So we have to make our system so secure that no one can get access to it. No unauthorized person should get access to those systems. So for those, we can have multiple layers of security. Okay, so that is one thing that you can mention here. All right, okay, I hope that this is clear. Let's move on. Now the next thing is, describe the difference between virus and worm. Very common question, I think you all must know the difference between virus and worm. That is an extremely simple question, but even if you are not aware, you can always look for it. In internet you will just find a good differentiation between these two. Both are types of malware only, but they differ in the distribution methods that they use. So viruses, we know how they spread, like when we say we are having a viral fever or something, so you can relate it with that in your minds to remember it. Okay, so what happens in virus, if I talk particularly about virus, so it is also a type of malware. It attaches itself to some clean files, and it infects the other clean files that are linked to it. Okay, and it can spread uncontrollably. That is also one thing. So it damages the system's core functionality, and it can delete the file, it can corrupt the file. So that is how it works. So for propagation of this, it requires some human action. All right, so what are these human actions? Let's say by downloading a file, you have activated it, or by executing a file. Okay, so these viruses can spread by human action. And if let's say I have opened infected email, or any attachment which was infected, or I have let's say I have run malicious program, so that is going to that is somehow going to let that virus enter to my system. So they can infect the executable files, even the boot sectors of hard drive. So they are really harmful for the system. And since virus can modify or delete files, they are really harmful, they are really dangerous. And they can reformat the disk, they can cause frequent crashes that can harm the normal functioning of any system like banking or anything like that. So that's why in banks, when you join as an IT officer, you won't be allowed to keep a pen drive with yourself in the office or something like that. Uh, and you cannot attach any pen drive or external device to your system, because it is a very critical system that you will work on, and you won't be allowed to do this. Okay, so that is about this one. Now some examples also you can give for the viruses. Some common viruses like MyDoom, you can give example of, or CryptoLocker. Okay, so I hope that this is clear. Now if I talk about worm, so worm is a standalone malware. So it replicates itself in order to spread it to the other computers. But unlike viruses, it does not need to attach itself to a existing program. So it is a standalone kind of malware. Okay, so they exploit the vulnerabilities in operating system or software to spread without human intervention. So you can mention viruses need human intervention and worms do not need human intervention, and they can propagate across the network by exploiting the security vulnerabilities without any human action. Okay, so they are even more dangerous. Okay, so through network interfaces from one computer to another computer. Okay, and so often they take advantage of some flaws that are there in let's say software that are connected to the internet or any local network. Okay, so the key differences: first, human intervention. So virus require human intervention, worms does not require human intervention. Then the next one is this infection method. So viruses need to attach themselves to some legitimate files or programs to execute, whereas the worms are self-replicating and they do not require a host program for them. Okay, viruses corrupt or modify on a single computer, While if I talk about worms, worms are known for their ability to rapidly spread across, let's say, multiple networks. Okay, so which potentially affect the thousands of millions of devices. So that is about this one. All right, I hope this is clear. I'll be discussing the answer to only those which I think that you require some explanation on. All right. All right, now next let's move on. So what are DDoS attacks? This is also something that was asked to me, and how they can be prevented. So easy one, distributed denial of service. First explain denial of service, and when this happens, when multiple devices are doing this, so that is distributed denial of service about this attack. And how it can be prevented, that also you can mention. Explain the concept of encryption and its importance in security. What is two-factor authentication? I have explained it. It is a combination of two things. What something you know, something you are, something you know, something you have. Okay, like while logging into some critical systems, after entering your password, which is something you know, you have to enter an OTP, and that is the device, your mobile phone. Okay, so if you are having your own mobile phone, you will get that OTP. So it is a combination of something you know and something you have. Similarly, if in certain systems we require fingerprint unlock or something like that, so iris scan is also there. So for that is a combination of something you are and something you know, or there can be a combination of three, so that is going to be called as three-factor authentication. All right, next, how do antivirus program detect and remove the malware? What is social engineering and how can individuals safeguard against it? Use an example. While working in a bank, you can encounter such situation that someone is asking you to share this particular detail or something like that, since you are dealing with some critical systems. So you can say that is social engineering, right? Utilizing or utilizing the social skills, the social you can say um, what can I say, the exact terminology. See, social engineering attack is it is not a typical technical attack. Okay, here it's like if I'm asking, okay, so I made you my friend and I'm asking you, okay, so tell me what is the password of this one. So that is something. Okay, so you, it is a manipulation technique basically, not that technical aspect is involved here. Here manipulation technique that is there, and it exploits the human error to gain some private information or any access or any valuable any kind of valuable information. Okay, so it is different from the you can say traditional cyber attack. All right, so they work on a psychological manipulation, and they in these attacks tricking the user into making some sort of security mistakes, or giving away some sensitive information voluntarily. That is what social engineering attack is. Then we have the next one, define the term firewall and its role in the network security. In this question, we have discussed it previously as well, so it is really important. Firewall question was asked to me in my interview. Then what are security patches and why they are important? So after every few days, there is a this patch updation in the banks. So why it happens? Because the attackers are becoming more and more sophisticated, and they are coming up with a lot of ways to exploit your system, the vulnerabilities in your system. So as soon as a vulnerability is you can say detected by the security team, so they prepare that solution to that. Okay, so the software you can say the version that is a bigger form, but patch updates, they happen in every few days. All right. Now next one, we have covered this. Okay, all right. Describe the concept of secure socket layer, SSL. Okay, so TLS, SSL, sometimes they can ask differences as well. What measures can be taken to secure a wireless network? Explain the importance of network security policies. Then what is brute force attack and how it can be prevented? Okay. All right, now uh, some advanced networking and security questions here I have for you. So for the previous one, let's give you some time to take a screenshot. So I'm removing the camera. You can take a screenshot of this. All right, I hope you have taken the screenshot. Now, advanced networking and security. So what is the role of intrusion detection system in cybersecurity, IDS? We are not going to go into detail of this, but yes, you must know the basic regarding this. So what is IDS if they ask? So you should know the full form and some basic things about it. They're not expecting that you should know as much as a already working bank employee knows. So just the basic would do for this particular question, because this was in our syllabus while we were studying IT security, network security in the college as well. All right, now the next question is here. It says that describe process of network packet sniffing and its implications. Not very important because it's in slightly deeper question, so not that important, but you can just go through the answer once. How does a proxy server operate and what are its benefits? Just understand what it means and just speak out the answer once in front of your mobile camera or your mirror. Then explain the concept of digital certificate. Digital signature is very important, huh? I'm going to discuss about it. Digital certificate also, you can have a look. What is it? Then symmetric and asymmetric encryption. What is the difference? Yes, this is important question. So a lot of people get confused here, but you can go through the answer to this question once. How can network be protected from insider threats? What is ethical hacking? What are insider threats? That is also something that you should make yourself aware of. That's why I'm giving these questions. It is going to act as a big brain teaser for you. That okay, you have to explore the answers in your mind and you have to think about the answers. Okay, I know about insider trading. What is insider threats? Related sometimes. Having some common sense also helps in answering the question. What is ethical hacking? Important. And how does it improve security? The thing that the other attackers are doing externally to damage your system, you are doing by yourself, or you are employing someone to do it for you, so that you can get the idea of what are the vulnerabilities that I'm having. In banks, there is this VAPT, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. So these are two different areas. Vulnerable assessment, this vulnerability assessment, VA happens, and then penetration testing. So we assess the vulnerabilities in our system internally, and then someone from outside our team, they are going to look for they are going to try to penetrate to your system to see if they are able to, and if they are able to, that means your security is weak. So that is what this VAPT is. Okay. All right. Now the next is describe the steps involved in a network security audit. They're not going to expect a detailed answer, but yes, if you can learn about it a bit, that yes, what happens is, and while you're working in bank, you will see that this IS audit happens, information security audit. Okay, so they're not going to look for the exact procedures, but yes, you should be aware of the basics, like why is it required, to check if there is any you can say carelessness happening at your end, from the bank's end, from the team's end, something like that. If it is happening, so that is to improve the system so that the external attackers won't be able to penetrate to the system. Okay, now what is the significance of application layer in network security? You can include the protocols here, you can include a lot of things in this answer. How do virtualization and cloud service impact the network security? Now, we were having the data center, the physical data centers. Now, Why do we need to move it to cloud? What is the need for that, of moving it to cloud? Okay, so that is one thing that you can have a look at now. Okay, I have moved the physical data from here, the physical servers, and I have moved it to a cloud server. Okay, how is it beneficial? We all know. What are the threats, the network security threats? While we were having it on the premises of the bank, it was different. But now it's on some, it's a cloud service. Now, what are the threats associated with it? So you can link it with any other, you can say, security threats in cloud. Okay, so in that way you can answer this question: virtualization and cloud service. Okay, I hope you know the concept of virtualization. If you don't, you can just have a quick glance at it. If you don't know, write down in the comment section, I'll give you the detailed answer to it. Now, scenario based behavioral question, and behavioral question. So how do you respond to a suspected security breach in your network? How do you respond to it? So what we look for? Okay, that threat can cause a lot of damage. That can cause a lot of damage, right? Okay, let me just check if you have taken the screenshot of the previous one. Here, okay, I'm removing the camera. Just take a screenshot. So I hope you have taken a screenshot from here. Let's move ahead and see what is next. Okay, all right, so we were discussing the scenario based and behavioral questions. So see, what do you do when there is person who has been infected with some viral fever, or let's say during COVID-19? What we have learned, so that is infectious, we know, and we want to protect that person, but we also want to protect others, so we isolate that person. So if I were you, I'm going to answer this question in this manner. Just hear me out. So if I suspect a security breach in the network, my immediate priority is to contain the breach and to minimize the impacts it has. Then following a structured incident response plan that is also already prepared in banks. So how I would approach the situation: first of all, I'll isolate it immediately. So I would first isolate the affected system to prevent the spread of the breach. If one system has been infected, I'm going to disconnect it from the network and isolate it totally, so that it should not spread to the other parts. Okay, so that is my first step. Then the next one is the assessment and analysis part. So I would work to identify the scope and the nature of the breach, and I'll analyze logs, the system logs, the system monitors, and network traffic to let's say to understand what happened, when it happened, and how the breach occurred. So it is critical in identifying the compromised data in the systems. Then I'll contain. So the containment. So with a clear understanding of the breach, that what happened, how it happened, and how much it might have impacted, I would move to contain it. So this involves applying patches, changing the passwords, implementing some stricter access control to prevent further unauthorized access. Then there is eradication and recovery. So in that, once it is contained, I would focus on eradicating the cause of the breach, and it can include removing the malware. Then proceed with the recovery efforts to restore the affected services and data from some backups. That's why there are daily backups in the IT department of the bank. In data center, you'll see there are daily backups. Okay, so we'll take the backup of to make sure that the data is clean and secure. Infected data must not be kept. Okay, then we'll all the stakeholders that are involved, I'll inform them. Communicate transparently that okay, this has happened. It includes the IT staff, the management, and potentially affected customers or the clients. Okay, whatever the legal or regulatory requirements are, in accordance with that, I'm going to inform them. So in this one, I have to tell them that what happened and what was affected and what measures are being taken to prevent the future incidents. After that, there is an analysis that I'll go for, that okay, after I have resolved the threat, I am going to conduct a post incident analysis. Okay, that means hua kaise, why it happened, how it happened, and was my response effective, was the procedures I followed, was I able to, were I able to control the damage. So if not, I would require a better plan for next time. Okay, and then ongoing monitoring is there always. So this is how it works. All right, so I hope that you are clear with this, since it is something that you won't find on internet easily, so I thought of explaining this whole procedure to you. Now, describe a situation where you had to troubleshoot a complex network issue. This is something that if you're particularly working in some IT company or IT department or particularly networking segment, so only then it is important. How do you stay updated with the latest cybersecurity threats and solution? Now, one question was there in my interview. They asked me, do you know any recent security breach that has happened in any bank? I answered it. I think there was Cosmos Bank or some bank was there, and I explained the breach, and they were really happy with my answer. So please update yourself with the latest happenings in cybersecurity in banking, particularly the cyber threats, the recent incidents, something like that, and how it has impacted the system, and what were the security measures taken out thereafter. So that also you can include in your answer. Explain how would you secure data transmitted over an insecure network or unsecured network. Okay, then what strategies would you implement to secure remote access to a network? The remote access was crucial during COVID times, and even now, while we were working in banks, there were certain stakeholders who were sitting, let's say we were using Finacle. Okay, so if there is an issue in Finacle, and Finacle is provided by Infosys. Now, people of Infosys, they are sometimes sitting at Bangalore office, they are sitting at any other office. So we have to give them remote access to the system so that they can understand what the issue is and they can help us resolve it. So we need to make sure that it is secure. So in that, how would you do that? It's not, they're not going to ask you too detailed question, but yes, you should have a quick glance at it. If you need answer, you can write down in the comment section. Then describe your experience with implementing network security policies. Again, if you're already working in a similar role, only then you can expect such questions, otherwise not. How would you approach setting up new secure network for a branch office? No, they won't be asking you such detailed questions. What are the challenges of managing network security in banking environment? Yes, this can be asked. What are the challenges? So that you can answer easily. How would you explain a complex network security concept to a non-technical colleague? And this I have explained in the previous session that like the customers are the customer to the branch, and your customer is the branch. So branch is your customer, you have to explain the issues to the branch. If they encounter any IT related issue, they are going to call you, and they do not understand things about that because they are not specialized in that. You are IT officer, they are general banking officers. So how would you explain it to them? That is a question. Describe a project where you significantly improve network security or performance. This is something, if you are already working on a similar role, only then you can expect this. All right, so take a screenshot quickly of this one. All right, I hope that you have taken the screenshot. Okay, so these were 50 questions that you can revise before appearing for your interview. I really hope that it was helpful for all of you. Now, my advice would be, more than studying, more than just rote learning or something, I would just tell you that make a practice of explaining things to yourself or any other person. So you can take any person. And one more thing, it's not necessary that you appear for interview in English. I appeared for it in Hindi. Whatever you feel most confident in, most comfortable in, that is the language that you must choose for the interview. One more thing, while you are preparing, let's say there's a concept that you have studied. Okay, you got the concept. Are you able to express it is the thing that is being tested in the interview. So for that, what my advice would be to you is, you have to, you can either just use a mobile camera and speak, answer that question to yourself, explain it to yourself, or you can have a friend or a family member sit with you and explain that concept to him. एक चीज़ मैंने कहीं सुनी थी, अगर कोई चीज़ अच्छे से समझ नहीं आ रही है तो किसी को बैठाओ और समझा दो. जब किसी को पढ़ाते हो ना, तो आपके दिमाग में वो कॉन्सेप्ट्स क्लियर होने लगते हैं. तो अगर कोई चीज़ आपको, और दूसरा फ़ायदा ये है कि इंटरव्यू में आपको आखिरकार बोलकर उनको समझाना ही है, तो आप कितना अच्छा समझा पाते हो वो ही मायने रखेगा. तो इसीलिए आप इन क्वेश्चंस को एक बार, जो भी आपको इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस लगते हैं, पास्ट ईयर के ट्रांसक्रिप्ट से देखकर, इवन टेल मी अबाउट योर सेल्फ का आंसर भी है अगर, तो आपको उसको कैसे करना है, आपको उसको एक बार, कई बार बोल के देखना है इनफैक्ट. ठीक है, चाहे हिंदी में बोलें चाहे इंग्लिश में बोलें, आपको उसको बोल के देखना है, क्योंकि बोलने से ही आपको समझ आएगा कि क्या आप उस चीज़ को समझा पा रहे हैं और कन्वे कर पा रहे हैं या नहीं. Okay, so that is it from my side. You can join the course of Olive Board for interview preparation, and that is going to help you with practicing more such questions, and you can interact live with me in that course. And after that, you can also just go through the lectures that are available to help you out with your preparation. So thank you so much, everyone. Stay motivated. You are doing fine and you will do great. Don't worry about anything. Just focus on your preparation. Don't compare yourself with others. Don't think about the main score. It does not matter at this moment. Whatever we can do best, we have to focus on that, and that is the interview at this moment. Okay. All right. So just keep on preparing, and I wish you all the very best. Take care and happy studying. Thank you.